One of the toughest things as a real estate pro to figure out is how to follow up with potential clients who, in the beginning, seemed interested, and then the conversation just kind of went nowhere, right? You met them in an open house, had a decent chat, made a connection, and then they just kind of ghosted afterwards, right? Like, did they decide not to buy a house? Is it like a week where they're jammed up at work, or is there a bunch of soccer practice going on and they're just kind of jammed, right? Or did I say something dumb at the open house and then afterwards they decided that they don't like me, right? We want to be helpful, but we don't want to blow them up, right? And we don't want to come off as salesy. So what do we do? The good news is it's actually really easy these days. Now we have AI to help us think through the right things to say, right? So what I'm going to do is show 3 scenarios and the exact prompts that I use with ChatGPT to come up with very natural, hey, that actually sounds like how I would say it, wording, right? So here we go. Okay, so switch screens, and I'm going to screen share a live session with ChatGPT. I have the $20 version of ChatGPT, which allows you to dictate in what you want to say versus having to type it in. And I thought it might be better for this video to have that go even faster. So here's how I work with ChatGPT to liven up get these leads to respond, get them to liven up, and solve the ghosting problem. First, I tell ChatGPT who to act like. And then I give it a clear goal. Here's what I want a text message to come out of this session. And then I give it some context, right? Some feedback about kind of what's going on with the conversation with the client. And then after that, I kind of set the tone and tell it kind of how to sound. So watch how this plays out. I've got it written down so I can just read it right in. So I'm at the microphone. All right, chat. So I want you to act like a very friendly and resourceful real estate agent who is passionate about helping a lead who ghosted. I am not just texting to check in. I always hate that. That sounds weak. The goal is I want a short text that's going to reopen the conversation that sounds smart without sounding pushy or salesy. The backstory is that I met this lead at an open house in South Philly 2 weeks ago. They sounded like they were going to start working towards the buying process, but then hasn't responded to any messages that I've sent after that. And I want the tone to be curious, light, a little sarcasm-y, definitely not salesy. And so let's see what she comes up with. So hit enter, and then now that prompt is dictated into ChatGPT. It's got it right there. And then I'm going to actually hit enter. Actually hit stop record first, and then I'm going to hit enter to see what it comes up with, what we should say. Smart, a little sarcasm. You love it. Hey, name, figured either South Philly swept you off your feet or you joined the witness protection program. Seem like you're ready to go and get serious. Are you still exploring, or did plans shift? I like that one. Swept off your feet, a little, and it tells you why it thinks they did a good job on the text. Seem like you're ready. Love it. I think it's a little goofy, jokey, a little more than I would have liked to see. So I'm going to tell it to give me a little bit of a different variation. Hey, Chad, I like that. It's a little goofy with the swept off your feet type of conversation. So make it a little more serious, yet kind of bold, and not quite as jokey as that one. You can just kind of talk to it like a person. It's really something. Let's see if it does a better job with my corrected instructions. Hit enter. See what it comes up with. Not goofy or flippant. Yes, exactly right. Hey, so when we talked to the open house, you struck me as someone ready to make smart moves. I'm wondering if buying is still on your radar or if the timing has changed. Love that. Perfect. I'm going to ask you to do me a little bit more, to add a little humor back in without being as goofy as before. Okay. I like that one. Give me one more version, please, that sounds sharp like that one does. Maybe add in a little bit more humor. Kind of a tall order. We'll see what it comes up with. Like this one. So when we talked at the open house, you sound like someone who doesn't waste time. So I figured you either found the perfect place or you ghosted me like a bad date. Not bad. Still got buying on the brain, or you taking a pause. Love it. So you got 3 versions you can use there. I like the third one, although any of them would work. And so the thing I want you to see is the 4 prompts I give it, and then you're never done, right? And you can talk to it like a regular person. You say, you know what? I kind of like that, but I want you to make it a little funnier, or a little less funny, or a little more sarcasm, or a little more serious, or whatever you want it to sound like. You can ask it to tweak it, and they'll do this forever, right? So that's an example of how to revive an open house lead that ghosted. Here's a second one. This is going to be a lead that opted in from a post, like somebody asked about a listing that you posted on Facebook and then or even a internet lead, but then they went silent, right? All right, here we go. Hey, chat, that was great. Next scenario is act like a friendly and sharp real estate agent who specializes in online lead follow-up. The goal is to write a short text, like before, that reopens the conversation with a lead who opted in as an online lead or from a Facebook post, but never replied after that. The backstory is they clicked on the Facebook ad or from website and offering a list of homes in a neighborhood. They gave me their name and number, but they never responded to when I reached out to follow up. And the tone is helpful, confident, a little playful, like I'm offering value, but I'm not chasing them and I'm not sounding sales. And I'm not just following up. That's a big one for me. Okay, here we go. So stop dictating. Even my little correction at the end show up there. I'm not just following up. It's a big one for me. Okay, here we go. Like you just talk and it knows what to do. And you can actually see the microphone thought I said Chad and not chat. It won't matter. Watch this. Perfect setup, Mickey. Thank you. All right, here's the text. Hey, lead. So you grabbed the list of homes in South End. Curious if you're still keeping an eye out or if that was just more of a late night scroll and click situation. Either way, I got a few good ones worth knowing about. Love that. Love that. It tells you why it works, right? Curious if, and that's kind of a Phil Jones type of conversation starter. And the late night scroll and click, I love it joke. That quite possibly is what happened, right? They're sitting over with a glass of wine on Friday night and they're just clicking through homes and said, I like that one, right? And so it acknowledges the fact that you're not number one in their world. Maybe you just scrolled and clicked and saw, and you're specifically circling back to see if you can help. And I've got a few good ones, meaning that you've got stuff that isn't just you're not just sending listings to people and to buyers. You do the work behind the scenes. Love that one. I'm going to stick with that one. All right. And then the third scenario is this investor. When I first started in real estate, I had a CRM that was just harvesting at a high level investor leads. And a lot of them were either had invested yet or were really early on investors and were just kind of intrigued about what investing looked like without having really an idea about how to be a serious client. So I had a lot of those, and maybe you even got some. Maybe you got some of those, and I know I did when I had a big team. And so I wish I had this technology back then to use to have it kind of weed out the investors that are not as serious. All right, so I'm going to read this in. Hey, chat, great job so far. Let's do a third one. Act like a proactive, experienced real estate agent, following up on after a strong investor meeting. Right, so we had a meeting in person after an online lead, and after the meeting, the conversation just kind of went cold. The goal is to write a follow-up text that sounds intentional and personal without pressure. And I do want to know if they're going to be an investor, right? The backstory is we had a great meeting about the investors' buying criteria, call it a buy box, last week. They seemed motivated and aligned with what the timeline was going to be. They knew what they wanted to do, but since they haven't replied. And the tone is calm, professional, thoughtful, like I'm invested, but not chasing. And also curious, since the past, some investors have shown up super interested, only to find out that all I want to do is make a bunch of half-price offers on listings and waste my time. Let's see what it comes up with. If you're kind of seeing this, we're just totally just dictating in, and it is taking everything I say word for word and then responding as if we're having a conversation. It's really remarkable. All right, here we go. Let's see what it does for us. I've been thinking about the buy box we talked about last week. Curious if you're still in acquisition mode or just filling things out for now. I work best with investors who know what they want and move when it's right. And so I want to make sure that we're still aligned. Love that. It's direct. Still aligned, is respectful, but says that your time matters also. And wouldn't they want to work if they're a serious investor with someone who actually has values their time, right? So those are three that I know I could have used ChatGPT for over the years really well. We now have it. I encourage you to use this as much as you like. Even if you don't buy the $20 version, you can just type in your prompts. It's free. And the biggest problem that real estate professionals have is they don't do a great job in following up because they don't know what to say. And this ChatGPT prompt mechanism should really eliminate that. And so now we have no reasons to not follow up. If you like this one and need some more ways to fill up your pipeline, I have a video a couple back called The Office Reimagined that will turbocharge your lead generation to have more of these conversations up front. If you need some more conversations and need more leads coming into your system, go check that out. Thanks for watching. Hope you're well. See you soon.